Hi friend, it is time for a new pick a card reading. It has been a minute because I've been very much focused on doing personal readings, which I love digging into personal readings so much. And just a quick reminder before we get into this, the only way to book with me is through my website. Please don't interact with scam accounts that try to message you. I will never send you a direct message to solicit a reading. Just a reminder, only way to book with me is through my website. You can find that in the description below. But I'm excited to get into this pick a card reading. Today we're taking a look at what Spirit wants you to stop worrying about. I was kind of torn on what kind of reading I wanted to do today, and so I pulled some cards and asked Spirit, what should we focus on? And this was their answer. What does Spirit want you to stop worrying about? I have prepared 3 piles with only one oracle card. I want to pull as many cards with you on camera as possible, so I picked only one oracle card, and I have prepared these little owls for you to choose from. So whichever pile or owl seems to call you the most, that will be your pile. Let's start off with pile number 1 is a little turquoise bluish owl. Pile number 2, we have a pearly white owl. Very serious. And pile number 3 is a bright green owl. So take a moment to see which pile, which owl is calling you, and you will find the timestamps for your reading in the description below. And I will see you at your reading to talk about what you need to stop worrying about. Hi pile 1, this is your reading if you chose the blue owl. I can't help myself, I have to say it out loud. It comes into my head, I have to say it out loud. My brain just went, what a hoot. Oh my god, that might come into play later. We're gonna set the owl right here, and we're gonna set this oracle card off to the side. We will take a look at that for confirmation in a little while. I have not seen it, I have not peeked, so I'm looking forward to see how this plays out. I have also not yet decided which decks I want to use. I'm really kind of going with a free flow vibe today. Oh, I want this one. Okay, all of my decks are pre-shuffled, but I also shuffle as I go. So we are taking a look at what Spirit wants you to stop worrying about. When Spirit wants us, well, Spirit doesn't ever want us in a state of worry or anxiety, but the way that the cards came out when I asked what kind of reading I should do, it looked like tell them to stop worrying because we're working on this. So it seems like there's something that is being figured out in the background, but let's take a look at what comes out. For group 1, what should they stop worrying about? We have the 7 of Cups. We have the Chariot. Immediately I'm getting decision fatigue. Decisions, decisions, decisions. And it's like, I'm getting that feeling of when you're doing like when you're part of a race and it's like those last minutes, even just, I like literally just heard the noises from Mario Kart, even like the beep, 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 like the revving of the engines and the wanting to go. but it's causing anxiety because it's like you're feeling that energy of hearing that sound like beep, 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 and you're freaking out because once the energy says go, you're like, I don't even know what direction to go. And I'm getting a lot off of just these two cards. I'm getting the sense that even when you don't know which direction to go, I'm still seeing like a racetrack from Mario Kart. It's like the track will reveal itself. Like you're not just driving with a blindfold on, you're following the course. But let's keep going. Strong message coming immediately here. The World, yeah, it feels like there's quite the journey ahead of you, and it's like it's like being worried about, am I gonna have to turn left and right, or like at which intersection do I change lanes, and like you're worried about like small stuff when Spirit is like, you need to zoom out. There's also a lot of red here. I'm feeling a lot of like insecurity, root chakra blockages. You don't trust yourself. It's like you don't trust yourself to make decisions in the moment. You don't understand from your vantage point right now. It's like you don't understand that you have all the insight and knowledge that you need to make decisions along the road, that you don't have to have every turn of your journey mapped out, and that you will be able to this is very, very specific because I'm getting like a car ride, literally. So think about taking a journey before the age of GPS, when people had like the road maps. But even then, you know, a lot of times people would drive and you just follow the signs. You just pay attention to the signs. We are so conditioned nowadays to pay attention to our GPS, to our Google Maps, to our Apple Maps, and we forget that without that support, we could also just pay attention to the signs on the road. This is obviously a metaphor, so this is, you know, pay attention to the signs that you receive as you go. Yeah. They want you to stop worrying about the small stuff and really like take action on what you want. You've gained a lot of I don't know why this is so car, I mean there is a car here, but it feels so car centered because I think it has to do with a lot of like faster movement than you are comfortable with probably. But it's like having a car and being afraid to drive it because it's such a powerful engine. But with this World card, they're saying you've taken it out on the racetrack. You've learned what it sounds like. You know when to shift gears. You know when you need to get gas. Like there's something about really intimately knowing your vehicle, whatever your vehicle is. You know, this is again a metaphor, so it's not necessarily your literal car, but it's whatever that's driving your momentum. You've gotten to know it very well. So they're asking you to trust your intuition and trust that you understand how your vehicle operates. Very strong, clear message. Like I almost don't feel the need to pull a second row. Do I want to just do 4 cards? Sorry, this is see, this is exactly like the this is so interesting because I didn't clearly map out what I wanted to do in this reading. I kind of, and usually I do that for the pick a cards, you know, try and make sure that they're all kind of the same frame, um, despite the message. And the way I just paused, that is also a message because it's like me pausing to figure out, what feels right in the moment. And I do feel that this is actually doesn't require a second row. So maybe that's what we're going to do for the rest of the readings today. But I am going to pull one last one and then we'll pull lots of oracle cards. Don't worry, we're getting a lot more messages, but yes, we have the Death card. And look at what a wild ride that looks to be. Look at this card. And the Death card, I know it sounds, it sounds intimidating, but it's not. The Death card, to me, indicates a life that has been lived. It indicates experience and full integration of experience. And I know that's a little bit out there, but that is what the Death card represents. We, despite the heartbreaking truth that, of course, sometimes death strikes far too early, but typically, especially if we think of like the lore of death as a person, death comes to you when it is your time, right? So that gives this idea of completion, of something having reached its height. And that, to me, I'm not trying to scare you here with this Death card, but I'm trying to explain how that, to me, in this context, feels more of a maturing. I'm getting like an image of grapes meeting their death to become wine. Like there's some kind of maturing process. Also, just like there's such a variety of experience that comes to a head. The other thing now I'm getting is because, like I said, they are asking you to stop worrying about this, right? For you to stop worrying about the small decisions, to trust your intuition, trust that you understand and have integrated a lot of lessons that gives you the power to decide in the moment, and that not every decision is do or die. Not every decision is the pinnacle of decisions. Also, if we take a look at all these faces, like the fear in these faces, a very natural fear, but like not letting the fear of finality or impermanence, not letting that drive your decisions. I feel that that Spirit is like working on clearing a lot of blocks out of your way. I'm almost getting like this image of they're trying to give me something and I can't place it. I don't know if it's a game where there's some kind of a vehicle in front of another vehicle and it clears the way for it. Oh, now I'm getting a different image. I'm getting, what is that called? At the Winter Olympic, it's the game that everybody always makes jokes about, where they have to like scrub the ice so that what is that called? Oh, that's gonna bug me. But I'm clearly seeing it. It's like they're like scrubbing the ice and you just have to let it slide. You just have to let it slide. Okay, let's pull some oracle cards. Let's start with this one. What is that sport called? Pile number one. We have adorn. They want you to enjoy the ride while you're on it. They want you to not just be focused. Oh, okay, here, sorry. When something's coming in strong, I like have to acknowledge it immediately. Going back to this imagery of being on the road and watching the signs, they also want you to not hyper focus on the signs, knowing that you won't miss the signs that you are meant to see. You will see them. You know, sometimes you see the signs like way off in the distance and you'll know it's coming. So don't be so hyper focused on the signs and whether you're headed in the right direction, but also enjoy. Look out the window, like enjoy the scenery, enjoy the journey. Okay, I have two cards that want to come out. We have the Lion. This card, the way that it came out, I want to honor the way it came out because I feel like that happened for a reason. Because this almost feels like enjoy the ride. Enjoy the ride. You don't have to constantly keep watch because Spirit is looking out for you. Spirit is looking out for you. Of course, that doesn't mean like just make whatever decisions that you feel like in the moment. You have to check in with your intuition. You know, you have to make sure that you're headed in the right direction. But you don't have to be so hyper focused on it because there is, they don't want you to worry about making the wrong choices or going in the wrong direction. Because we have the Lion, there is an instinct that you're following. And I just talked about this underneath one of my TikToks the other day, and this immediately came up when I saw this card right now. This brought up the Lion King for me, how Simba tried to avoid his destiny and then was just led right back to it because there is no way that he wasn't going to be king. It was his destiny. And so this card here is like, you can't, even if you feel in the moment that choice that I made was wrong, it is never going to take you away from what is meant for you. And so there is, the whole point of this reading is what Spirit wants you to stop worrying about because they're working on things in the background. And look at them working on things in the background. And it is on you to mature and understand your vehicle, your power. Like I'm looking at this mane of the lion. Grow into your power so that you can follow your path with confidence and conviction and with a fire in your soul, so that you don't show up with the Seven of Cups energy, which is what Simba really empowered when he was still young and naive and listened to what other people were saying, right? He was just very confused, and then he grew up, he matured, grew into his power, into his body, into his destiny. Let's pull one of these. Overall, I feel that the energy is like saying that Spirit really has a lot of faith in you, and they want you to have just as much faith in yourself. Yep. Release fear. And that is a beautiful card. Release fear. They want you to stop worrying. It's funny because the question is, what does Spirit want you to stop worrying about? They want you to just stop worrying. Just stop. Just stop. Let's pull... I always am about to say, let's pull one more, but then I'm looking at all my decks and I want to incorporate them all because I love them all. Can't choose favorites, so we got three more oracle cards for group one. Look at that. We got two cards. We got protection and the void. Protection, and look at, sorry, I love this. We have protection because that's what I'm telling you. Spirit is on the lookout. Spirit is on your side. They are on your team. That is like your internal GPS. But this bird, very much connecting to these birds. They are on the lookout for you. Okay? And then the void is trusting that even when you don't see the moon, which is your indicative of your intuition, emotions, even when you don't see the moon, it is still there. You have to trust your intuition. Even when it is hazy, when it is cloudy, you have to trust that when something is off, when something is wrong, your intuition will tell you. Spirit will tell you. And that even when something doesn't work out, you'll find in hindsight there is a reason or a lesson. There is a reason or a lesson, or the lesson is the reason. We have House of Flowers, which indicates that there is a lot, when we have Oh Sunny Day at the bottom of the deck, a lot of really powerful energy within you and a lot of creative power within you. That there is just a lot that wants to break out, that wants to like present itself, that wants to show up in the world. There's something within you that really wants to show up. And I just realized that I'm pulling and pulling and pulling, and I haven't even turned this card over, nor have I rolled my astro dice. Oh my god, I am overdoing it. I am doing the most with these oracle cards. This one. There is something that creatively wants to come out of you. I just said that. Creative feminine energy. The cosmos is within you. Use this time to begin a new creative project. You need to trust, and creative feminine energy is going back to intuition and trusting yourself along the way to make intuitive choices. There is something that wants to be birthed, and that doesn't mean creative feminine energy doesn't have to relate to your gender, whether you identify as male or female or non-binary. Doesn't even play a role in this because we all have creative feminine energy. And these two cards beautifully come together here. And I'm almost feeling, because my eyes were drawn to this death card again, I am almost feeling like there's something about your worrying, something about your indecision, your decision fatigue, that has to die for this to be born. Ooh, yes. We have the 7th house, which is the house of relationships, not just committed relationships, but also how you show up in relationship to others in the world. And then we have the moon, which is, again, intuition. It is your feminine energy, and it really is in combination with the 7th house, trusting not just yourself, but also trusting others, that others will support you, and spirit, as well as others in your life. And then we have Scorpio energy, which is very much letting something be born out of the depths, out of this void, letting something really like come up from deep within, and also really getting in tune with your internal guidance, with your intuition, as we talked about with those first cards. Now, I'm going to share with you that I have a sneeze waiting to come out, and I'm surprised it hasn't, but it's like tingling in my nose. I'm telling you, everything happens for a reason during these readings. It's like you have that tingle. There's some kind of tingling. There's something where you're like, and you don't trust yourself enough to release it. There's that tingling. Lantern. Consciousness is light. Lantern indicates that even without seeing where you are headed, you will know where you are headed. Even without having concrete answers, you will know which direction to go. Consciousness is light. Your intuition will guide you. These lanterns guide her. And then this also is this yellow energy, very indicative of solar plexus energy, which these first row of cards that we had a lot of red with sprinkles of yellow. So I think there is really an ask for you to lean into more of your solar plexus energy. Stop worrying so much about root chakra things, which is, you know, your stability, and focus more, lean into your solar plexus energy, which is creating and really following your desires for creating. Okay, I hope this was helpful. I hope I get to read for you again sometime, and until then, take care. Hi, Group 2. This is your reading if you chose this pearly white. I don't even know if you can see the pearly shine. This pearly white owl. We're going to set it down right here. We're going to set your oracle card off to the side. Okay, so I kind of established a frame of spread during Group 1. We're going to follow that. I went completely overboard with the oracle cards because I cannot control myself. But as I was shuffling the cards right before hitting record for your reading, I got this weird pressure sensation in one of my ears out of nowhere. And it made me tilt my head and look over to a glass of water that I have standing here, and I chugged so much water all at once. I feel compelled to share that, so I am sharing it. So might be a sign for someone if you're having some kind of pressure things going on with your ears. That might be a sign. Also, stay hydrated. So I'm going to pull some tarot cards. We're going to keep the tarot portion a little short because we are pulling a ton of oracle cards. So we are looking at what the spirit want you to stop worrying about, because they're already working on it. take a look. Spirit, for group 2, what should they stop worrying about? I'm taking both of these. Ooh, I love it. The messages are so straightforward today. Very, very strong. Might also just be this deck. I love this deck. So we have the Nine of Cups, we have the King of Cups, and we have the Five of Swords. Something that I'm getting immediately off of this is they want you to stop worrying about either instances in the past or going forward in the future of you sticking to boundaries, especially emotional boundaries. Like, I get this sense of setting up an emotional boundary and then feeling like, was that the right thing to do? Did I go overboard? Am I misreading the situation? Like, am I being a bitch? I want you to stop worrying about your worth, that you are inherently worthy of determining your own worth, that it is in your power, and that you don't need to feel like you are starting an argument just because you're stating how you feel. Stating your emotions is not looking for trouble. Stating your discontent or your needs or your wants is not asking for trouble. So many cups. You have a lot of undercurrents and a lot of like hopes, possibly fantasies, and that's the thing. Like, I feel like maybe you feel that you have too many expectations, or your expectations are too high. I don't see it that way at all. But this Five of Swords makes it seem like that. Let's get the last card for the row. Oh my goodness. You are so precious. You are so precious. And I feel that look at the bottom of the deck, we have the Six of Pentacles. I feel that you think you are too much because you're either too emotional or too romantic or too like caught up in daydreams, like something too, whatever word comes after too, you think you are too blank. And Spirit does not agree. I do not agree either. Spirit is saying, like, you will receive yours. You will, and in a nice way, you will receive. You don't have to. It's like you consider you're making yourself smaller to fit into something. But why would you want to fit into something that's not meant for you, right? I'm pulling one last card for this row. This is the bookend. Oh, I love it. Sorry, I don't mean to make weird noises, but I just, sometimes half of reading cards, more than half actually, is just experiencing the energy. Because the cards themselves are limited. The cards themselves are limited. What gives the cards a lot of dimension is the energy and the context. And the energy here is just like, I just wanna I just want to like give you a hug and like literally tell you you have absolutely not a single thing to worry about. This is, look at this spread. We have the 9 of cups, we have the King of cups, we have the 10 of cups, we have the Lovers, and we have the Ace of Pentacles. This is Spirit wanting you to stay strong in your boundaries, wanting you to understand your worth, and that your worth cannot be determined by anyone but you. And for that exact reason, you need to set that worth high, where it belongs. The King of Cups, you have gained emotional maturity, and you are almost emotionally mature to a fault where you overcompensate, you overregulate your emotions and very likely other people's emotions. You possibly take on other people's emotions trying to regulate them. The 10 of Cups indicates that there is great potential for really feeling emotional fulfillment, like joy within community and family, and just feeling like, especially from this 9 of Cups, right? I have another alternative here. We'll get to that in a moment. The Lovers indicating it's your choice, it's your life. You need to choose to live up to your worth. And by live up to, I don't mean live up to expectations, not in that sense, but to demand that life present you. You know, it's kind of like it is your choice what you eat. Let's use that as a metaphor. You know, let's say you want to go out to a restaurant. You know what's on the menu when you go to McDonald's, and you know what's on the menu when you go to a fancy dining restaurant that has like awards for their cooking, you know? So it is your choice. And there's absolutely nothing wrong. That's why I'm saying the value is determined by you. There's absolutely nothing wrong with wanting McDonald's and really enjoying it. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with wanting and desiring a fancy restaurant meal. But make sure that it is your choice, not what you think you're supposed to choose, or, oh, I can't afford this one, so I'm going to settle for this one, or, oh, I can't afford this one calorie wise, so I'm going to go with this one. No, like, what do you desire? And Spirit is doing the rest on the back end. This Ace of Pentacles is opportunity and really like tangible blessings being offered in the future. Okay, that is one reading. At the heart of it, though, we had this 5 of Swords that came out along with it that really says that this is what has to be overcome, is the idea that you are in conflict with others, that you are somehow in conflict with your desires, that you're overcompensating, over-regulating as not to rock the boat, as not to... going back to like the McDonald's and the fancy restaurant, right? It almost feels like getting this sense of, I really enjoy the food. I would really enjoy the food at the fancy restaurant, but I don't have the right things to wear. I don't think I would fit in. Like, looking at yourself in the mirror and being like, I'm not the kind of person that should be going to an establishment like that. I should be going to McDonald's. That's what this feels like. I don't like that. I don't like that. Okay, that's one interpretation. Let me give you another. And you have to understand how this fits into your life. But here we have another one. You, again, knowing your worth, being challenged by Spirit to not just know your worth internally, but also demand that that is met. And then meeting someone who is able to offer that, who is able to give that. And what they want you to stop worrying about is the idea of, I have to fight to get someone who will see my worth. I have to fight for someone to give me the things that I desire. Let's take this Five of Swords right out of here. Look at that. We have a beautiful, powerful woman, a very handsome, emotionally mature man. And please don't be distracted by gender. That doesn't apply. It's just a feminine, a masculine. We have a lovely family. We have the Lovers, and we have the Ace of Pentacles. The only thing in the way here is the idea that you have to fight for it. The idea of, almost like having to fight someone into shape. The idea that, oh, I have this partner and he's not giving me the things that I want, so I have to shape him, I have to mold him, like I have to, if I just train him right, then maybe. No, there is somebody who will give you all of that without a fight. But it is on you to choose yourself so that you can open yourself up to someone who will do that for you with less effort. Both of those readings apply. One is more external, one is more internal. You have to know which kind of falls in line with where you are in life. Let's get to pulling oracle cards. Overall, this is a beautiful energy, and mainly what is holding us back is worry. And that's exactly, that's the funny thing about asking Spirit, hey, what should I stop worrying about? Well, you should stop worrying. Have you tried that? I say this with no judgment. I am a worrywart myself. And again, I am getting so thirsty. Drink your water. Drink, especially because how many cups do we have here? So many freaking cups. Drink, drink, drink from it. Oh my God, all they want you is to drink from it. Depths. Okay, let's get some oracle cards for group 2. I don't know why, but this throughout this reading, I've been having it playing in the back of my mind and I haven't mentioned it, but I keep hearing these boots are made for walking. Nancy Sinatra, probably because she kind of looks like Nancy Sinatra. Spirit has jokes. This card came out in the first reading in group 1, and it came out exactly like this as well. And it is Spirit saying, because this says keep watch, this is Spirit saying we're keeping watch. Like don't you worry. Oh my goodness, that wanted out. We have the Veil. I'm gonna get one more because that was a repeat. The Veil, I think, is also asking you to acknowledge your true value. Like, not your value in context to what other people see as valuable in you. And especially when it comes to physical beauty. Acknowledging that any kind of beauty standard isn't what's going to dictate how much of love and emotional fulfillment you are going to acquire. And that this King of Cups energy, whether that is your own or whether that is an external energy, that energy is going to provide these things for you, not in spite of your value, but because of your value. And we got spring. I love this because spring is a very like fertile kind of energy. It is an energy that is very much about blooming, blossoming, coming together, enjoying, savoring, celebrating. This is beautiful energy. And at the bottom of the deck, we have unapologetic, which is all about being unapologetically yourself. Spirit is like your number one cheerleader. Oh, and unapologetic also goes really well with what I was saying earlier about you possibly feel the need to regulate for other people, like thinking you're too much, anything like that. Like, no. You are just the right amount. You are not too much, you are not too little. And we have experience rebirth. Experience rebirth. I just said something about fertile energy too. That you don't have to take that literal. It's very metaphorical. But look at this imagery. And I like that as I'm going along, I'm covering up that Five of Swords. This energy very much has a fertile aspect to it, especially when we look at the Ten of Cups, the Lovers, the Ace of Pentacles. Like there is something very fertile about this energy. And so experience rebirth is almost like saying like to really like, especially because I'm still hearing these boots are made for walking, but especially because of this energy of like, you know what? No, I don't need to overregulate. And really embodying that will allow you to celebrate and really blossom and celebrate yourself again in a way that you probably haven't for a long time, possibly not since childhood. Because when we are children, when we are less conditioned to make ourselves fit into certain spaces, we're so flamboyant and so vibrant and so we celebrate ourselves and we want to share ourselves with everyone. And then the world comes in and it tries to bend us into shape, into a certain mold, and it makes us simmer down, it makes us quiet down. So experience rebirth to me here is really like showing that there's something that wants to be released that is within you. Whoa. Got two cards. Yes. I like this. We have action. Something wants to be released. Look at that. That movement forward, springing forward, and focus, which is focusing on the positive, focusing on your transformation and focusing on letting yourself shine. I'm getting Leo energy here, which that reminds me I should roll my dice. Last reading I forgot until the end. Let's roll the dice. Put some energies around this. And we have the 11th house. We have a Virgo energy. And we have Jupiter. I love that Jupiter was like right over the Ace of Pentacles. There's a major blessing. that comes when you really lean into yourself, into loving and valuing and living. I'm almost getting the sense of like, this is such a random image, but like not fully being in your skin. Like, you know, when you wear a glove that's too small and it kind of like ends right here, you can't get it fit all the way. Imagine like going from that into a glove that fits nicely and just like fully, that's the image that I'm getting, like being smaller in your skin than you are, and like really I am getting a lot of physical messages here. And I want to tell you, if you are someone, because I'm getting this strongly right now, if you are someone that struggles with body dysmorphia, or specifically like really being hard on your weight and staying a certain size and staying a certain seeing a certain number on the scale, I feel like there's something about like stretching into your body, whether that means becoming more muscular or gaining more fat, that is really going to allow you some kind of freedom. Like there's something about like stretching out in your body where you're going to have a different experience with yourself and your body. I'm getting that message strongly for someone out there. Gaining weight seems like it might be a nightmare, and in reality, when you experience it, it's freeing you. And you'll be becoming more of who you actually want to be, more confident, more loud in a very metaphorical way, like more outspoken, more just more in the best, most beautiful way. And then you'll look back being like, why was I so afraid of taking up more space? Anyways, that fear, that worry here displayed with the Virgo, this Virgo energy, I think directly over the Five of Swords, is that overthinking and also that self-critical energy. With the 11th house, this is hopes, dreams, aspirations, but it is also a larger community, our friends. Along with these cups, you have so much to give. You have so much to give, and you over-regulate a lot of aspects of your relationships that you don't allow yourself to receive as much as you give. And there's some kind of adjusting that is going on with that, that will allow that to balance out, and you'll be receiving like so much like backlog almost. Very interesting, very exciting. Let's see. Let's do this one now. Let's take a peek. I have not looked at this. What do we have? We have repair. Making amends rather than fun times reveals a relationship's true constitution. Ooh, I love this. I love this because this to me feels like making amends with yourself. If not, making amends with your expectations. This Five of Swords. Five of Swords is that conflict where it's like it has just ended and you're dealing with the aftermath, right? So repair is like repairing the relationship that you have with yourself, which is what we were talking about with this card earlier. But again, if this is more about external energy, it can be about repairing some kind of relationship that you have with your expectations in a partner. Making amends rather than fun times reveals a relationship's true constitution. That's a beautiful card. Okay, now we got two more. These readings are kind of long today, but I'm just enjoying all the oracle cards. Ooh, I love this. Look at this. Pure nature. Pure nature. Ooh. With pure nature. Focus. And we have the art of seduction underneath. And can you see how voluminous her rose dress is on both sides here? Voluminous. And it's bold, taking up space. Oh my God, I love this energy so much. Pure nature, filling in your space. My goodness, I'm like, there's like water coming up in my eyes. I don't know why, because I'm enjoying this energy, but it is feeling like very emotional all of a sudden. Like really, you're making amends with yourself somewhere along this road. And that is really going to open you up to receive everything that you are able or have given in the past. You're gonna get it like smacked right back in your face in the best possible way. So you need to stop worrying about fitting in, making yourself smaller. You need to stop worrying about over-regulating other people's emotions or reactions to you. Okay. Calm down a bit. Okay, one last oracle card to close this out for group 2, my lovely group 2. Okay, this is a triggering card. I love this deck, but I'm not a fan of this wording, because this card says twin flame. I'm not a big fan of that, but it says twin flame and true love stories never have endings. Okay, but can we take a moment to think about the story of Edward Scissorhands and how he does not fit, and he tries so hard to fit. Oh my God, now that I think about it, I haven't watched that movie in ages and I don't remember how it ends. Interesting. I think I'm due for a rewatch. Yeah, I have no clue how this movie ends. But going back to him trying so hard to fit into a place that he does not fit into. I'm sure there's a happy ending to that, right? Is there a happy? Oh my God, is it a sad ending? Doesn't matter. I think what we're taking away from this card is that storyline. True love stories never have endings. Also comes back to you, you know, your love story between you and yourself and loving yourself. But also no coincidence that we have the Lovers and the masculine, feminine energy over here. So there is definitely a love story that is in the subtext of this reading, for sure. I will not deny that. That's why we have the Ten of Pentacles. Like, there is definitely something that wants to come in, but you have to be ready for it in a way that you are able to appreciate your value. So I'm going to get one more because I'm not happy with the Twin Flame card. Crystal intentions. We either live with intention or exist by default. Yes. Existing by default is trying to exist within the perimeters that someone else has set for us. Existing through conditioning. Existing with internalized conditioning. Crystal intentions is asking you to be crystal clear about your intentions and about how you want to live, what your values are. This is very much, and they look very similar here. Again, there is a love story in the subtext here, but overall, the main message of what Spirit wants you to stop worrying about is they want you to stop worrying about being lovable, because you are inherently lovable. You don't have to be a certain type of way to be accepted and to be loved and cherished. So stop worrying about that, because it is a waste of time. Okay? I'm gonna leave it there. I know that's way easier said than done. My goodness, this reading is so long. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, for your patience along this ride. And I hope you know how loved you already are and how incredibly loved you are going to be going forward. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. Thanks for hanging out. I hope I get to read for you again sometime. Until then, take care. Hi, group 3. This is your reading if you chose the green owl. We're going to set that right up here, and then we're going to set your oracle card over here. I have not looked at it. I have not taken a peek. We're going to save that for later. So we are taking a look. We're going to pull some tarot cards and then a whole bunch of oracle cards. We are taking a look at what Spirit wants you to stop worrying about. What should you stop worrying about? Because it is being addressed in the background by them. Group 3. Oh. We have the Death card, which is not as literal as it seems. Depends on context, so we will see what the context is. We have the Temperance card. The first 2 readings, I will say, were immediately straightforward. This one, I feel like, might be a little more elusive, a little more how do I say this? A little more there's a word that wants to come out and I'm not getting it. It might be a less practical matter. It might be more oh my god, it's gonna drive me nuts that I can't think of this word that wants to come out. I will say it might be a little bit more existential. You might be worrying too much about the finality of things, like too much about the meaning of things. Like you might find yourself like overthinking the meaning of situations and things, where overthinking things that you do not have and do not need to have control over. Like overthinking things that are taking their very natural course. And that in itself is it's something that you do because you are in pursuit of control. And so you might have some type of control issues. And what Spirit wants you to stop worrying about is control, that they want you to focus more on surrendering. And I will tell you right now, the journey of surrendering is never complete. You will always reach another level of, wow, I surrendered more than I previously thought I was capable of. And wow, I thought I was surrendering, and now I'm realizing I'm surrendering. And then after that, you'll reach another level where you're like, wow, now I'm surrendering. Let's pull some more cards. So this control might have to, might directly relate to all matters in love. Um, you might feel like you have to control yourself when it comes to love. And not just love in a romantic sense, but love in all kinds of connections. So friendships and family, platonic relationships as well. Feeling like you really need to know every aspect, like really needing to understand who you're dealing with, and what exactly they're offering, especially because, as I said, platonic, like it feels like that kind of almost like made your energy wince a little bit, like almost like you need to know whatever energy you're receiving. Okay, in which category does this fall? Is this romantic? Is this platonic? Is this person want to be my friend? Does this person, like, there's this deep desire of knowing exactly, like examining exactly what you have in front of you, which takes a little bit of the magic out of it. It's like seeing something as, I'm getting, especially with this death card, I'm getting this sense of like an autopsy, like the cold sort of aspect to that, you know, the metal slab, the instruments, the techniques to pick apart a human being, to understand what happened here. And I'm getting the sense of this desire for control kind of driving a picking apart to the point of overlooking the beauty of not understanding something, the beauty of not having to analyze something, the beauty of just accepting something for the feeling that it's giving you versus understanding exactly what it is. I'm almost getting this sense of, take it if it resonates, but you might be the kind of person that is very logical, especially when it comes to your emotions. Like you might be someone who justifies emotions based on the brain chemicals they release. Like you understand, like you've studied, and it might be because of your field of study or occupation that you have a very specific knowledge that lets you kind of utilize that in ways that you probably shouldn't. Like you know certain brain chemicals or psychology insights that let you rationalize a lot of things that don't need to be rationalized. This is what I'm trying to say. This reading is, oh, we have a card that flipped at some point, apparently. We will take it as a, we have two. I will take them both. And I see what's happening here, but I want to get back to what I was saying right now. This is what I was trying to say. This reading, the message immediately felt more, oh my God, the word is just not coming to me. There's a very specific word I'm trying to grip, but it's more complex and more, what is the word? Abstract. There we go. Oh my goodness. That was labor. That was hard labor. Abstract. This feels like a more abstract message, meaning it's not as clear cut, and it applies in a more abstract way to your life. Okay. We have this Queen of Swords. The way the cards come out definitely matters. So the fact that those flipped, I have no idea when those flipped. Maybe you saw it, I did not. But to have the Queen of Swords absolutely, to me, confirms what I was just saying of like having to pick something apart in a logical, pragmatic way, because the Queen of Swords is a very rational energy, and it's very much like that wanting to understand, that desire to understand. And then we have the Six of Wands underneath that. Six of Wands, a card of victory, wanting to understand something so that you can feel accomplished and victorious. And it might come, the knowledge that you base your understanding on might come from you being very accomplished in something, but it does influence your experience outside of that field of accomplishment. But also, this comes along with a dose of wanting to wrangle something. It's almost like I'm getting like a lasso and a bowl, like wanting to overpower something that seems very powerful to you, which is human emotions and love and self-love, and something that really is very difficult to categorize and oftentimes difficult to put into words. But it's like you have this drive to not necessarily control it, but to master it. You want to master it, and it comes from a very pragmatic perspective, it feels like. And again, we're talking about what Spirit wants you to stop worrying about. And it's kind of like you don't have to try so hard. You don't have to try so hard. Like, yeah, you're very insightful when it comes to these things, and yet it's almost like you don't have to use all of that brain power. You can also just feel it. You can also trust that what you feel is accurate. You don't have to immediately go run to a book to confirm. And I say this with no judgment. I'm just relaying the message. No, that's too many cards. One at a time, please. Yeah, they want you to be more lighthearted. They want you to be more of a fool. Like, it feels like you might have some kind of academic background. You might have some kind of education that really elevates your understanding of things. But the Fool is a card that reminds us that it's not necessarily about understanding everything in the world. Sometimes the most powerful thing that you have access to is your instinct. The Fool is based on the court jester, and the court jester oftentimes was one of the smartest people at the court, because while there were many people that are very book smart and very experienced in their field, the court jester is the one that could bring them all together. The court jester is the one that could that the king would be able to really rely on for honesty, because he could the Fool can transmit information through comedic disguise almost. There's a lot of depth when it comes to the court jester, and there's a lot of wisdom in the Fool card, which is the zero. It is the beginning, it is the all. There is so much more wisdom in the Fool card than we oftentimes give the Fool credit for. And so there is this ask here from Spirit for you to lean into keeping a beginner's mind, that just because you know a lot, whether that is through education or through experience or through both, just because you know a lot doesn't mean that just because you know a lot doesn't mean you understand a lot. That is very powerful. Just because you know a lot, that doesn't mean you understand a lot. And there's an ask here to lean into experience more, and therefore like your senses, the sensation that arise through connecting with people and sharing love and experiencing love and receiving love, and love in all forms, again, not just romantic, but even just the love that you have for a fellow human being, compassion that you share for humanity. Very abstract message, very powerful message. Getting one last card. Yeah, this is beautiful. They want you to lean into exploring. And I'm getting like this sense of really, and it doesn't have to be that literal, but I am getting the sense of someone that is very book smart, taking themselves out of their books, leaning into experiencing the world from a different perspective that is more based in emotions and more based in really just not so much understanding emotions, but feeling them, feeling your way through life instead of picking it apart. The knight is someone that seeks out. The knight is sent out away from the kingdom to explore, and with the Knight of Cups, it is exploring in an emotional landscape. This is a beautiful, beautiful reading. I hope that you can appreciate it for what it is, and not feel somehow slighted by it, because it's not a judgment of your capabilities, because obviously you're very accomplished, and you will be even more accomplished once you're able to integrate this aspect that it really, I think, has a lot to do with your soul. It's not your brain, it's not the chemistry, it's the thing that cannot be contained, the thing that cannot be tested and prodded. It is your soul, and everybody's soul, like the appreciation of the human soul. Woo! That is a reading. Let's pull some oracle cards. This is a beautiful reading. And this is the kind of thing that I cannot summarize in like a 3-minute video on TikTok. And it's like, I really wish I could, because I think a lot of people would really benefit from a message like this. But this is something that needs to be explored card by card, energy by energy. Which one? Wow. That is a beautiful confirmation. The magic within. The magic within, with this owl, appreciating nature, the nature of the human form, the nature of the soul, the innate wisdom that you hold that cannot be taught in books or classes. This is a beautiful card. I have not gotten this card very much from this deck, and I've had this deck for a long time, and I use it very, very often. But I know I've seen it before, but not very often. The magic within. Whoa. And sweetness. Ah, I love this. Spirit wants you to focus on the magic within, that cannot be taught. And they want you to focus on the sweetness of life and the experiencing sweetness. Let's keep them coming. Which one? Relieve anxiety. I mean, that's a very broad statement. Let me take a peek at the other one that was trying to come out. Yes, see, I knew it. It's a very broad statement, relieve anxiety. I mean, that's exactly why we're here. We're asking, what do you want us to worry less about? So relieve anxiety is like that drive to wanting to understand, wanting to categorize, wanting life to be in bite-sized chunks when it is not. Life is a giant buffet of experiences. So dramatic, but had to come out that way. The other card that wanted to come out is Unlock Your Heart. Unlock Your Heart is asking you to embrace this Fool energy, to embrace like your inner child and really kind of like just have fun with things and know that this Temperance card indicates that that there is a natural balance to life, that there is a natural balance to nature, that there is something, again, I'm being called back to the element of soul, that there is something that does not have weight on a scale, but that doesn't make it non-existent, that doesn't make it meaningless. Let's keep going. It couldn't quite decide if it wanted that one. We have Masculine, and masculine doesn't really pertain to whether you are male or female. Masculine, we all have male or masculine and feminine energy within us. Masculine energy really speaks to going out into the world with confidence and creating, and it's interesting because there is this definitely with this Fool and the Knight of Cups, we have this energy of Spirit asking you to go out into the world, because a lot of this other energy is like, I want to understand it first. I want to understand before I approach. And these energies, the Masculine, the Knight of Cups, and the Fool, are telling you there are some things that you cannot understand until you have experienced them. There are some things that you cannot understand until you have lived them. And so therefore you have to go out with kind of this blind enthusiasm and throw yourself into the experience and trust that you will figure it out along as you go. And then afterwards you will have understood lessons that you would not have been able to gain without the experience. And especially because I'm getting this sense of wanting to truly like pick something apart and some kind of possibly academic accolades. Like when we think of science, science is the act of trying things out and seeing, you know, what did we learn. And so I'm getting the sense of an energy of you being more comfortable with theory, being more comfortable with learning from other people's experiences, and yet Spirit being like, that's not why you're here though. You're here to have an experience in a material world. So go out and have your experience, because there's something to learn that you cannot learn any other way. And there we have the calling, hunger. There's something that is that drive, that hunger is not going to be satiated by anything other than going out and finding what it is you're hungry for. It's like sitting at home and looking at a cookbook when you're really hungry and you have no groceries at home. Like looking at 20 different recipes because you want to be prepared. Yeah, when you go to a grocery store, so you know exactly what you want to get. But let's say you've never cooked before, you're not going to understand the impact of really standing in the kitchen and following a recipe that is absolutely going disastrous, and it's still going to taste amazing at the end, you know? Because there's another aspect to cooking that involves preparing food with love, preparing food with care, that just you cannot put in a book. There's aspects to that you cannot teach, where you just have to experiment and you have to find something. And imagine cooking a recipe or finding a recipe in a cookbook and you're like, okay, I have studied it, and then getting all the ingredients and creating it and not being happy until it's like 100, like you follow every step exactly the way it calls for in the recipe, and then you have the completed dish and you try it and you hate it because it's not something that you would have cooked. It's not something that you would have come up with. It's something someone else told you this works. And it doesn't take into account what are your what do you like, and before experimenting in the kitchen you might not know what you like. I hope that makes sense. It's a very, very broad analogy here, but let's roll some dice. We've not done that yet. Ooh, absolutely. We have the third house, we have Aries energy, and we have Jupiter. The third house is our house of communication and our understanding. So you probably have a very strong third house with everything that we've talked about in terms of like the drive to want to fully understand something. Third house is a very mercurial house. With Aries, it is that desire of like, I want to understand. I need to know. I need to understand. The third house is also our direct community. So I need to understand, why do people act this way? Why do people love one another when they do this? Why do people feel hurt when I do this? Like very much like, what impact do I have on my community? What impact does my community have on me? And how do I relate? How can I fit in? And then having this Jupiter energy, which is very nice, beneficial energy, but also an energy that really indicates expansion and learning, knowledge through experience. That's exactly what this reading is talking about. Knowledge through experience, not just knowledge through preparation. Let's get this card now. Ooh, I love this, especially because we have the masculine, and I want to underline that we all have masculine and feminine energy. So this is talking about masculine, and then here is the community aspect and the feminine energy. Women supporting women. Together we can transcend our individual limitations. I think this whole reading, especially with that Ace of Cups, is talking about you being able to experience things that you can't really get to experience on your own in isolation, like just from books or classes or academia. Like there's something where it's like you have to experience it, and you have to go out and experience it with other people, in relation to other people. There's an aspect to relationships and emotions that you possibly overthink and try to pick apart, and it's like Spirit wants you to worry less about that because it's not so much about understanding it, it's about experiencing it. That is a beautiful message. Oh, I love this. We have Morning Dew Girl. And I know I've read this before, but I'm gonna double check the booklet because I really want to make sure that I get. But Morning Dew Girl, if I take a look at it right now, it's about experiencing, it's about collecting experiences, especially emotional. Look at her. Collecting emotional experiences. I don't know why I'm struggling with that. You might be struggling with that. That's probably why. I mean, we probably are all struggling with that. No judgment. Face your fears, awareness, consciousness. The woman on this card collects fat raindrops into a basket of leaves. She is called Morning Dew Girl, and she symbolizes the receiving and absorption of all worries and fears. She invites us to start sharing our own feelings and worries. We can collect them all and deal with them instead of hiding them deep inside. She stands resolute and strong, ready to face her fears. While her fear can be as powerful as a river, once confronted, it may turn out to be as small as a drop of dew. And that, I think, fits really nicely with wanting to understand something that can't be understood, because when you look at something that can't be understood and you're trying to pick it apart and you're really getting into like the intricacies of it, it seems like such a like large object, and yet when you feel it, it just becomes lighter and smaller, and it's just a feeling. Very interesting. I just got, and this is so random, but I just got an image in my mind that brought up Monsters Inc. and the way that the monsters are really like terrified of Boo, the little girl, and the more experiences they have with her, because the knowledge that they have is like terrifying. But more experiences they have with this little girl, they're like, she's not that terrifying. And then it becomes like this very sweet, endearing relationship. Okay, last oracle card to close out this reading. We got it right here. Awakening. Every star was once darker than the night before it awoke. Awakening, and this is one of the holographic cards, is very much about you awakening to this aspect of what we talked about. Like this idea that there is some things that can't be categorized, that can't be explained, that are just something that you feel and you are meant to experience for the sake of experience. At the bottom of the deck we have Truth. But he who dares not grasp the thorn should never crave the rose. That goes back to hunger. And you probably crave emotional intimacy, but you've like analyzed it to a point where it's like, it seems intimidating. And boy, can I relate to that. But you analyzed human connections to a point that it seems intimidating. He who dares not grasp the thorn. The intimidation is the fear of pain, where we get that need for control from. Should never crave the rose. You kind of have to take, you got to take, oh, there's a song. You got to take the bitter with the sweet. I can't remember who sings that now, but it's an older song. You got to take the bitter with the sweet. Okay, I'm gonna leave it there. I hope that this was helpful. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I know it was a longer one, but I was digging the oracle cards today. So I hope that you appreciate it. I really enjoyed it. This was a beautiful reading. I hope it resonated, and I hope I get to read for you again sometime. Until then, take care.